No. Two-letter word. But why is it so difficult to say no? If I'll be honest, saying no is hard and packed with guilt. When we say no, we feel bad about ourselves. Or sometimes, to avoid feeling guilty for saying no, we say yes, only to regret later and feel miserable for saying yes. But there is also a third option, the least explored one. Say no without feeling guilty. As Warren Buffett said, the difference between successful and very successful people is that the very successful people say no to almost everything. But only if it was that easy. So here's a question for the day. Share with me in comments a situation where you had hard time saying no. Since we're social creatures that rely on human connection because of our sense of belonging, sometimes we avoid saying no to not offend or disappoint others. Other times we say yes to get others to like us. The people pleaser one. We think when we say no, others might like us less. Or if we put our need before others, they might also look at us as selfish. And because we care how others think of us, and being considered selfish is the last thing we want, we end up saying yes to others. So try to understand, why is it hard for you to say no? And no matter how difficult, it's still important to learn the art of saying no. As Steve Jobs said, it's only by saying no that you can concentrate on things that are important to you. When you say yes too often, it could lead to burnout and overload. If you're constantly accepting tasks and obligations from others, the chances are you're too busy with other people's tasks that yours pile up and rarely gets done. And if you bite off more than you can chew, you're bound to choke, hence burnout. For that reason, it's important to refuse to please others at the expense of your emotional and mental well-being, even if it means saying no to people who are used to hearing yes. It also helps achieving personal goals. This is one of my most important reasons to stop saying yes. When you say yes too often, means you have little time for yourself. Instead, saying no allows you to choose where you want to spend your time and energy. And if you don't guard your time and priorities, no one else will. And lastly, when you learn to say no, it allows you to set boundaries. Establishing boundaries helps you build healthy relationships and don't make you feel as if you're taken advantage of. After all, the more no you say right now, the less no you need to say in the future. As people start to understand what they can expect from you when you're likely to say no or yes, they're less likely to bother you as well. So the question is, how to say no without feeling guilty? But before that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so that you never miss any of my videos on productivity and personal growth. Resist the temptation to provide explanation. Really, don't beat around the bush. Providing long-winded explanation about why you can't rarely makes things easier. Firstly, when you provide a made-up excuse, which we all have at some point, it makes us feel awful about ourselves. And it's also likely that the other person might know and may think of us as less trustworthy. Secondly, it opens door for negotiation. Suppose if a friend asked to help with the move, you said, "You have a project due date, so you can't." Her response, "That's fine, can you help me tomorrow?" Now you are in trouble. So I suggest always opt for short, simple, and straightforward approach for saying no. Something more like, "Sorry friend, I can't." And really, you do not owe anyone an explanation. Trust me. The real freedom is in saying no without giving a reason. Second, offer an alternative strategy. Sometimes you'd like to help, but the timings are off, or you have other reasons for which you cannot accept. In situations like this, offer other person or resource that they might look into. Sharing other recommendations means you're still being helpful. It's guilt-free and a win-win situation. Tip 3. Don't stall for time. Instead of making someone wait on you, try to give your response in the moment. If you're uncertain if you want to accept the new task or not, it's okay. Take your time to consider the pros and cons, but don't keep them waiting too long. Giving quick response can help the requester look for other alternatives so that they don't have expectation from you. Just don't say maybe if you want to say no. And lastly, tip 4. Be assertive, not aggressive. Communicate clearly, be direct and firm in your response. But also be respectful. Remember, your tone is the hardest part of saying no. As for tips for saying no, you could say, "I have other priorities. I can't work on this at this moment." Or you could simply say, "I'm honored, but I'm afraid I can't." After all, not everyone who asks you to do something is trying to take advantage of you. When communicated politely, they'll surely understand. And if someone can't take no as a response, then you know, that person is probably not a true friend or does not respect you. If you like this video, smash that like button and share with me in the comments. Which tactic will you use to say no? As you learn how to say no and stop feeling guilty for saying no, you will understand you can be a good person with a kind heart and still say no.